Hey campers, Georgia. You're going to get 2 intros out of this video. If you watched my live, this explains. You'll see what I was talking about. Really struggling. I decided to put this video out because I wanted to show people that you need to be aware. When I edited this video, I was shocked. But hey, I learned something. And if you watch my live, well, you'll understand. Hey campers, Georgia, back in the man cave. Multitasking. If I don't do it, I can't keep up. What I'm doing right now, these 2 guys, look at her. They need some loving. Let's check it out. What I'm talking about is I have 2 knives. They are both Camelus and they are both Scout. Here they are here. Now this one is a Boy Scout, okay? This one is a Cub Scout. Love these knives. I love Camelus. I think their older knives are awesome. And these 2 fit the bill perfectly. The Scout, this one here, and you can see the badge there. And let me open it up for you. Here you can see it here. Now it's a pretty big knife. That's why it's a Scout. It's not a Cub. And you've got your standard. You've got your screwdriver, your awl, bottle, your can opener, and the main blade. And you can see it's been a little abused. It's been reshaped. Basically, they flattened it out. It should have that deep belly, just like any Cub Scout. Or Boy Scout. The other thing cool about this is look at this can opener. It's a 2-piece. Very unusual. It's made of 2 pieces. And then, of course, the big catch, and unfortunately they kind of nicked it with when they were, whatever they were doing with it, sharpening it, shaping it. But if you look at that tang stamp, you will notice that it says Camelus, capital letters, no italics. The line underneath, yep, is a short line. And it's New York, which dates it like this. You know, the black scales, it has the brass liners. Great knife. Then there's this poor little guy. And this is the Cub, the Scout Cub. And it's pretty beat up. For a start, look at the bail. Just a wee diddly crooked. The good news is that the blades aren't as bad. The bad news is that would be the blade moving. And you can see that it's coming apart there. I'm not sure what is wrong. I put a pair of pliers on there and held it there. It still wobbles and it's loose. Now, like I said, it is a Cub. So on the Cub, the difference, and you'll see this, the difference between the 2 is the number of blades and tools. Both are single blade. Both have an awl and a bottle opener. Can you see what's missing? Huh. Apparently, there's no can opener. Here you can see the differences. 4 tools, 3 tools. And of course, the size. Yeah, this one's a little bigger. I love the badge on this. It's very cool. This one is that badge. This is Cub. Boy Scouts Cub. Pretty beat up. Now, if you looked at this one, the Boy Scout, nothing locks. It's a slip joint, true. Nothing locks on it. The Cub, they're concerned about the little guys. You've got a lock there and a lock there. Now the locks, let me make sure before I say anything that I don't know what I'm talking about. Obviously, the lock on this side is for the oar. Okay, and you can see it kind of locks in. On this side, the lock, it's for the blade. Allegedly. Yep. Look at that. And because it doesn't lock in, you got a floppy blade. This is going to need some work. But hey, isn't that why we're here? We got to clean these little puppies up and make them all sharp and shiny. So if you saw in the intro, I was wiping them down with this. And what I was doing is using alcohol, this stuff. Now, I like to do this before I dip them in the rust remover, the nasty stuff. The stuff I've got now is not as nasty as some of them out there. But what the alcohol does is you can get a buildup of grease, oil, all over the knife, from your fingers, for whatever reason. And when you lay them down in the rust remover, the oil and grease tend to block that. And you'll get a little bit of spotty areas where it doesn't work. So I just give them a wipe down, and you can see it takes off a lot of the loose, greasy, oily stuff. And hopefully, when we dip him, which we're going to do right now, it'll be a bit more consistent. Let's do that. Okay, I'm using Evaporust. I like it because I'm a cheapskate, budget guy, and you can reuse it until it stops working. So I'm going to just throw those two knives in, and hopefully we'll let them sit. Yeah. Keep doing that. Keep forgetting to put gloves on. Got to go wash my hands now. I'm going to let him sit there for a while I edit a video. And then we'll come back and give them a rub off with maybe some Scotch-Brite to get the heavy stuff off, and then we'll start deciding what we're going to do with them. Let's see where we are. They've been sitting in here for a couple of hours. So I am going to take him out. And he's still spilled. I have got to figure out how to do this. At least it landed on the knives. Okay, now that I've cleaned up my mess, let's just wipe most of it off. Look at these blades now. They still have that very dark patina. Can you see that? Huh. And at least it's even loosened up more. Yeah, it's still not locking that knife, and there's a big chunk of something on there. For a moment there, I thought it was the lock on the can opener. I thought that can't be right. But it is for the blade. But it's not moving over. Fortunately, that blade's not sharp. Something in the way there. Now you can see the lock is over the blade. It's got a little bit of, well, no up down, but it's got a lot of wobble here. This thing's going to need a lot of work, and yeah, we're going to have to take this guy apart. That makes me nervous. Now this guy, the Scout, the Boy Scout, doesn't have any locks or anything. This is going to be an easy, I don't want to say clean, but an easy access clean. Look how big that well is in there. These blades are really, really patinaed. Okay, let's get in there and shine the well and see what happens here. I'm using that foam, and this is 2000 on here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use this first. This really shined it up nicely, didn't it? See if we can get that bottom again. I haven't even washed these things off. Well, we might be able to shine them up. This one, anyway. Yeah. All right. Let me make sure I got all the big stuff off. And then I'm going to go and wash them off with just clean water. I think I want to take this guy apart. But before I do that, I need to make sure that I have parts to put it back together. The pins and all that good stuff. So let's go wash these guys off. Let's get this guy all sharp and shiny, and then we'll really get into that guy. So I washed them off in a just really hot tap water. Got most of the goop out. I want to start cleaning and making it shiny. So that means dealing with all the tools and the blade. Now this guy is in really bad shape. I'm just going to take him apart because I found some pins. I'm not going to take the scales off. I think what I'm going to do is just pin this guy over a little bit and push him back in and get them all cleaned up. We can clean up the scales on this guy. So we're going to be taking this guy apart. I'm going to start with this guy. I'm a little concerned because they really are patinaed a lot. But I'm not liking it because it's not clean. It's a very rough patina. So I'm going to clean him up. If I can get through the patina without going into the steel, it will look very nice. So let's give it a go. Okay, that patina obviously was a natural patina. I thought maybe it was a forced patina. It actually came off. Look at that. So I'm going to get some 400, I think. I'm just going to rub it and let's start working it down. 400, 1000, 2000. So I'm using the 400 now. Now that I've gone to the sandpaper, with the Dremel, I went in different directions. With the sandpaper, I want to go in one direction. So I'm going to go long ways along the thing because you want to be consistent and just work it. So here you can see it with the 400. Spent a couple of 100 minutes on that. And like I said, if you keep going in the same direction, you're going to get a more consistent shine in the end. This is looking promising. So I have some 1000 here on a foam backing. Now, it's just too big to work with, so I like to cut it into strips. And also, you get to use more of it when you don't get the middle missing. And we're off to the races again. I spend more time with 1000 than any of the other two. It really starts to get a shine going on it, and you can get pretty consistent with the shine on the 1000 and then really polish it with the 2000. And here we are with the 1000. You can see it there, starting to get a nice flat shine on it. See that? Now I'll just spend some time with the 1000, with the 2000, and see how much more we can polish it. That at least it's sharp enough to poke with. But that cleaned up nicely, so now onto the other blades. Before that though, I'm going to put some polish on here, some mothers, and let's see how it looks then. So what do you think? Think it helps? I think it does. Certainly gives it a pretty consistent shine on there. Look at that. Nice. This is very exciting. This could turn out to be a real beauty. So now we're going to go on the blade, and we're back to 400. So I don't really want to use the Dremel on it because it's been ground and beat up enough as it is. So I think I'm going to start with 400 and see how we do. And then I'm going to go step through each one. I'm not going to show you. You've seen what I do. I'm going to do it on all the other blades. You don't want to sit and watch 4 hours of that. This is with 400 grit. How we see it is probably like that. Morning, campers. The boss let me come outside. The day has warmed up. Past 2 days it's been really cold, but it's going to be a nice day today, so here we are. This is where I am. I'm done with the 400 on this, and as you saw previously, I wanted to have a really close look at what it looks like, and you can see the scratch marks from the 400. I'm going to 1000 now, and we'll polish it up and then have a look at it close up, and then do it with 2000 and see how much difference there is. Yeah, I'm a geek. So here it is after the 1000 grit. So let's have a closer look at it, see what it looks like. Okay, so you saw that. You can see it looks very nice and shiny with just your bare eye, and you know, that's what it looks pretty good with the 1000. I'm going to go to the 2000 now and do that all again. I've actually done the other ones, so I'm just finishing up on the blade, and then we'll go on to the external stuff and cleaning up the well. A couple of other things. We got wobble on the blade here, it's a little loose. Otherwise, I mean, it's not a major issue, but it would be nice to clean them up. So we're at it again. So here we're looking at the 2000 result, and you'll hopefully you can see this. Some parts are shinier than others because nothing is exactly flat, but there is a difference. So now I'm gonna put mothers on here and see what happens. So I've just polished this with mothers, and if you can see, mothers smooths it out a lot more, but you still have that rough, smooth issues. So I'm in the shade here and I'm trying to get it into the sun. It shows it better in the sun. You see, you can still see the deeper scratches, but when you start getting the sun shining off it, reflection light, it looks a lot cleaner. See that? Very smooth where the scratch, in between the scratches, if you know what I'm saying. This is pretty cool to see. Now I'm wondering if I put mothers on my Dremel with a polishing wheel. That might be interesting. So I've gone through down to 2000 grit on all the tools. The polishing, except for the blade, I haven't done on the other ones, and that'll be the final cleanup, like after it's sharpened and that sort of thing. Now we're on to the outside, and here you can see the bolsters. They're going to be done, the liners and everything like that. So I'll show you that now. You can see, and hopefully we can clean those up nice. So here we are. Here you can see the inside. Cleaned the inside. Went over the bolsters. They cleaned up nicely. It's cleaned up very well. I like the way this turned out. The badge, I did a bit of cleanup, but I think I'm going to have to use, mothers will make the difference on that. It'll get into the low spots a little bit better. But it did bring the badge out. Needs to be cleaned up. I have some stuff. It's an orange extract from orange peel, I believe. And you spray it on and it really cleans up all the residue from the polishing and stuff like that. You get that off, and then you can polish it again with mothers and just wipe it off, and it brings out the shine really well. So there we are. Look at that. Cleaned up nice. We're gonna have to start on that little guy. There's a lot of work there. So I tightened up the bolsters here to make the blade tight again. Just gave it a couple of very slight taps to tighten up the pins, and it's nice and tight now. The other thing I wanted to do, they modified the blade into a flat blade. Just to make it look better, I'm going to put a choil in there. So it kind of looks like it should be that way. So I'm going to try and do that now. And here you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the choil there. And then when you sharpen the blade, hopefully it'll be nice and clean. And we'll be good to go. So now we're back to this guy, which really scares me. Really bad shape. You can see there. Totally floppy there. Interestingly, this is not. The one next to it is just on the one side. And then we had that issue with the lock. Too much going on here. The bail is a disaster. And I think I really want to clean it up as much as possible. So being the brave feather I am, I think I'm going to take it apart. Clean it up. See if we can fix it up. And put it back together again without totally destroying it. So let's have at it. So I've never done this before, but I got these in a mail call. And I think I'm going to give it a try. It's supported on the back, and I'm going to try and cut through these pins, and hopefully it'll come apart. It's come out of it. The blade broke, look at that. Huh. I thought maybe it would work, but no. I think we got it there. Yep. There we go. Now we got to get the tin out of the bale and take it apart. Ha! I forgot about the middle pin. That goes all the way through. Okay. Let's try and get this in here. So there we are. So here is the lock. And looking at this now, it looks like this knot's been taken apart because this looks like it's been ground down. It's thinner, which is not good. You can see the spring. It doesn't come towards me enough. It should be more like that way. It should naturally be more over, just sit in the middle, because that's where the blade is. It doesn't come over enough, so we want it to be about at least halfway down the blade, like that. See that? So we got that to figure out. I forgot that this has an extra liner on the side of the blade. It'll come off though. We'll let them soak for another hour or 6. Okay, they've been soaking for a wee diddly bit. Let's give them a rub and then wash them off. Nobody's going to see this, but if you get the stuff off, you can get a tighter fit. Whoops, a cleaner fit when you put it together. There's a lot of buildup on these springs. Hopefully clean it off, make the springs better. The nice thing about taking this apart is you can really clean up the recasers on everything, because it's hard to get to it when it's right there on the bolster. Okay, here we are. My chance to redeem myself without spilling. What do you think? Let's give it a try. Fine. So I cleaned them off, got them all, the goop off of them. Now we want to start cleaning it up. We just got to clean up the parts. See, like this one is a little beat up. We want to clean that up and make it look cleaner. Not too worried about the sides there. I just wanted to get rid of the excess here so we get a tighter fit. And of course, the boss. Safety inspection again. Sneak one. No warning. So I just polished the pieces that are going to show up and cleaned up. There was a lot of scratching and nicks on these. So I just cleaned them up a little bit. Just the edges, the parts that are going to shine. Now on the bolsters, there are a lot of nicks. Can you see that? Look at that. This one I started to clean up. The nicks were really bad on this. You can see that. How badly beat up they are. I'm going to try and clean those up, smooth them out a little bit, and get rid of most of it so it's not so bad. I've cleaned these guys up of the rough stuff using the Dremel. Then I'm going to go to 400, 1000, 2000, go through all the blades and the tools. One thing you've got to be careful about using these is sometimes if you get to the edge of something, these break off and fly everywhere. Safety glasses are important. There you are. Reasonably cleaned up. Really all that needs to be hopefully done is a polish and a sharpen. So the fun part, putting it back together. Well, as you saw, had a little bit of a problem with this guy. And what I'm dealing with here is a problem I can't fix. And here's why. I can fix the wobble sideways. This I can't fix. I'll show you here. That's where the blade should be. It's going up there. You see that much? I can't explain it. The blade, where the actual spring sits on the blade, the lock doesn't even, when I say lock, the spring itself. So that's where I am right now. However, this guy worked out really nice. Didn't need as much cleanup or anything like that, but it did need to be cleaned up, and it really, I like the way it cleaned up. The blades cleaned up really nice, remember? Everything shined up, even the inside, look at that. Really shined up nicely. Yeah. Really turned out very nice, you can see it there. And then the budge, got to have the budge. So there it is there. I did sharpen it. I did show you the blade, and it should really have a bit of a belly there, but somebody flattened it out. However, they at least got it flattened out nicely. You can see there, it's nice and straight. I know it's sharp enough. You can see there, it does a pretty good job. So it did clean up really nicely and sharpened up. I really want to make a sheath for this. Got to think about it because it's not a big, bulky knife. But it's too big for a slip, and it needs a really small sheath. I would really like to make it a thin, tight sheath to sit on a belt, or maybe even a sideways one, or maybe make two. Any excuse to play with all the leather I got, right? So there you are. I did a short on this one even before I was finished cleaning it up. I just needed a video. So I did a quick short on it, and one of the comments was, this was one of the first Boy Scouts that Camillus did. So very nice, very cool. I really like this. It's one of my favorites. Why? It's a camp knife, but it's a Boy Scout camp knife. So there you go. Sorry, you win some, you lose some. And here we are. We have a winner And we got to work on the loser. You all be safe out there, especially when you're working out. Getting frustrated with this, I had to really be careful. When you're working on things and you get frustrated, walk away from them. 2 reasons. 1, becomes a safety issue because you get careless. And 2, it's not just a safety issue. If you get frustrated, you could mess something up and make it even worse. So it's better just to walk away and go, let me think about this, and then come back and work on it. Just saying. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. Getting short to the show, coming out at the Knife Doctor, Kevin. I'm working on that, and I'm hoping in a day or 2 I'll know if I'm going or not for certain. I have some restrictions, so really appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel and all that good stuff. Always appreciate it. So we'll see you again soon.